The newly launched National Automotive Policy 2020 is aimed at further enhancing Malaysia's automotive industry by transforming the sector into a grand sector of connected mobility. Launched by the PM Tun Dr Mahathir Mohamad today, among the key targets for NAP 2020 include the automotive sector contributing 104.2 billion to GDP by 2030 and for the industry to create 323,000 new jobs during that period. In his speech, Minister Datuk Darrell Liking called the policy holistic, with elements of technology at its heart, such as next-generation vehicles and Industry 4.0. Mahathir also revealed that the controversial approved permits, or APs, for imports of foreign cars would remain in NAP 2020 to ensure that customers receive vehicles that are of quality. The PM says that while Malaysia is an open market, there needs to be some control to ensure that wrongdoings are not done. He also says that the government will need to evaluate the situation over possibly granting customized incentives to car makers who want to set up shop in the country. Ultimately, NAP 2020 will use three strategies, namely human capital development, value chain development, and safety, environment, and consumerism. Telekom Malaysia saw red for its fourth quarter, reporting a net loss of 51.1 million compared with a net profit of 69.7 million a year ago as revenue fell. Not helping bottom line was a fair value adjustment on medium-term notes issued by a subsidiary. Revenue dropped 2% to 3.03 billion from 3.09 billion ringgit. TM still declared a first interim dividend of 10 cents per share for FY19. Earnings were better on a full-year basis, with net profit quadrupling to 632.7 million as impairment losses came in lower for FY19 compared with FY18. Top line, however, dropped 3.3% to 11.4 billion as all segments in general reported lower revenue. On its prospects, TM says it is going back to basics and focusing on four strategic pillars, namely customer excellence, revenue generation, manpower optimization, and providing a superior network through modernization. However, Group CEO Datuk Nur Kamarul Anwar Nuruddin warns that the telco is expecting a 5% revenue drop as the business environment remains challenging. He adds that TM is also planning on cutting its capital expenditure by 20% compared with 1.36 billion ringgit in 2019. Axiata Group bounced back in the fourth quarter, posting a net profit of 332.6 million compared with a 1.5 billion ringgit loss a year earlier. The better numbers reflected the telco's year-long effort to clean house as operations improved, and there was the absence of a one-off write-off in the fourth quarter of FY18. Revenue remained fairly flat at 6.3 billion ringgit. Axiata also proposed a special dividend of half a cent per share on top of a regular dividend of 4 cents per share for FY19. For the full FY19, net profit came in at 1.5 billion compared with a loss of 4.8 billion the year before, while top line grew by 3% to 24.6 billion ringgit. In a statement, Axiata says all its operating companies were now profitable as XL Axiata and Robi Axiata stepped up to deliver across key metrics. President and Group CEO Tan Sri Jamaluddin Ibrahim says this proves its shifting gear focus has been on point and that 2020 will be a defining year for Axiata as management seeks to future-proof the group. The High Court has dismissed SCOMI Group's application to block Tan Sri Wan Azmi Wan Hamzah and Datuk Mohammad Zakir Siddiqui from taking over a 37.2% stake in SCOMI Energy Services. This is following the default by SCOMI on a 42 million ringgit loan from the duo last month. This means Wan Azmi and Mohammad Zakir's private vehicle Gelombang Global can proceed with transferring the stakes that were pledged to them in return for the loan to SCOMI. Thus, the two will emerge as new substantial shareholders in SCOMI Energy. The court's decision represents another stumbling block to SCOMI's restructuring plan, where the aid from Wan Azmi and Mohammad Zakir was supposed to help ease pressure on cash flow. But when SCOMI defaulted on the loan, the two wanted to take over the shares pledged, only to have the company obtain an injunction to stop it the day before the share transfer. It is unclear whether SCOMI will appeal the decision. The Securities Commission announced today that conservative funds under the private retirement scheme can now invest in foreign markets. On top of that, PRS funds are also allowed to invest in exchange-traded funds based on physical gold to increase asset diversification into alternative investments. In a statement, SC says this is to enhance the competitiveness of the PRS industry after a robust review process with the Industry and Private Pension Administrator Malaysia. The SC pointed out that given the longer life expectancy of the populace, PRS providers are now required to gradually move their members to a less risky fund in accordance with their age to commensurate with members' risk tolerance. Following Budget 2020, PRS members are now permitted to make pre-retirement withdrawals without incurring tax penalty for healthcare and housing purposes.